All right. So this is a our partner interview series with Johnny. Is it Yousoufian?
Usofian. Yeah.
Johnny Yousoufian. He started Evergreen Lotus. The products are amazing, and we have them on the site right now, and we're really proud to have them. So we try to interview our partners. So, Johnny, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We were just chatting about some of the tattoos that you have. You got that the Dark Side of the Moon tattoo, one of
Yeah.
my favorite bands as well. I mean, Roger Waters is most amazing. We both saw Roger Waters last summer this year. So let's talk about that real quick, man. What was that like?
Let's see. I was 9 when I first got introduced to Pink Floyd. Been a huge inspiration my entire life. Shine On You Crazy Diamond is my favorite track of all time. Got me through pretty much all my hard times in life. So I had to get something on me to join the collection of my other tattoos. So yeah, I mean, their music has just got me through pretty much my entire life.
Shine On is my favorite. I've probably listened to that album. Wish You Were Here.
Oh,
I mean, the great thing about that is that if you the last track and the first track melt together, so you
right.
can't tell when it starts or ends. I've listened to it over and over. I used to mow the lawn and just listen to that album.
Funny thing is, I was actually gonna do a sound waves tattoo where they tattoo the actual sound wave of anything you record, and I wanted to get a big clip of Shine Like Crazy Diamond tattooed, but I was only limited to 30 seconds, and I was like, how do you pick 30 seconds out of that? Which 30 seconds do you pick out of that?
It's impossible, man. How
Yeah.
long would that have been? Like 6 feet long, or how long is that?
Pretty much my whole body.
Yeah. Just
Right?
start from your toe, go up to your head,
Yeah.
and then come back down.
Maybe someday.
So you have a lot of tattoos, and did that lead? Because you have Evergreen Lotus, which is the regular CBD kind of like pain relief lotion, and you got the really unique product, which is awesome, and we get a lot of good feedback from the Revive Ink, which is specifically for people that get tattoos. So tattoos are obviously a big part of your life. And which one came first, the regular lotion or the tattoo salve?
The regular lotion actually came out first, and the reason behind that was I'm pretty open about this, but my background is I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis about 5-6 years ago. My mom's had it pretty much her entire life, and I've grown up watching her take just pharmaceuticals, just take all these steroids and all these pills that have just basically shot her liver. And when I got diagnosed, the doctors wanted to put me on treatment, and I knew what those treatments are all about. They don't cure anything; they just suppress your immune system, and pretty much got to live with it your whole life. And what I did was I refused treatment because I just spoke to the doctors, and I was like, "What do you guys think about cannabis?" And they just didn't want to hear it. They're like, if you're going to refuse treatment, then you're going to talk to us about cannabis. We'd rather not deal with you as a patient. And I was kind of hurt by that because, it felt like they're just trying to push a bunch of pills on me.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, I actually did latch onto opiate painkillers for years. And that addiction kind of led me to getting tired of it. And I was done with it. With the withdrawals, I couldn't use anything that could get me off it. So I turned to CBD and THC. CBD actually was the only thing that could get me through the withdrawals and the anxiety and all that. And I got to a point where I saw so much relief just by using CBD. I was like, why am I taking all these harmful pills when there's something that's good for you, doesn't have any side effects, and could potentially just limit my inflammation and all that? So I started becoming like this huge CBD user. And one day I woke up, I was like, why don't I create something where I could just put it on my body and control my spasms and take care of my inflammation? And I did a lot of research and development, and I did a lot of testing, and actually saw that it worked. I actually use it on my mom. She uses it religiously now.
And has she seen any improvement?
She's seen a lot of improvement. She actually can't go through the night without using the topical on her legs because of the spasms and the inflammation and all that. So I've kind of like weaned her off all the pills that she was taking, and I have her on CBD tinctures, and I have her on the CBD topical strictly.
And where are you living?
Los Angeles, California.
Okay, so you're lucky enough that you actually have access to that kind of stuff. And luckily, thank God for right now, we have CBD we can ship it to all 50 states. So how old were you when you got your multiple sclerosis diagnosis?
I was 27.
I mean, that is unbelievably young. I have a couple of friends I have one friend that was 30, he got diagnosed, but most of the time you hear that in people 50, 60 plus. So
Oh, yeah.
that's a really, really hard thing to hear at such a young age, because you have to have a completely different lifestyle than the rest of the people around you.
Very true. And actually, when my first symptoms actually came when I was 21, 22. But I come from a very traditional family, and they they don't like hearing you talk about, oh, I might have this condition, that condition. So when I woke up one day and I had lost all feeling from my waist below, which was my first symptom, and it lasted for about a month or two, everyone around me was just like, oh, it's because of your weight, and it's because of your you must have tweaked your back by lifting something heavy. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Nothing's wrong with you, and everything's all in your head. So I kind of bought into that, and I just let it go and didn't do anything about it for years until
Mhm.
it became severe enough where I had to go see a neurologist, and I was like, something's up. Something's not right. And went to USC, went to a specialist, and she was like, yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, this is
Mhm.
what you have.
And they proceeded
So yeah,
to
it was kind
put
of like,
you. Go ahead.
yeah, it was life changing. I mean, uh, I was in denial at first. Didn't know how
Mhm.
to act around people. I didn't want anyone to look at me like a handicapped person or treat me
Mhm.
any different than they would with anyone else. So I started doing everything else that everyone else was doing. But I noticed that sometimes it's just not possible. I need to rest. Sometimes you can't do everything else everyone does. You know.
Yep. Yeah, and so they proceeded to put you on the opiates and everything, which is that's for the pain, I guess, because the muscles are so fatigued that they just get so tight or something, and you have to loosen them up. Is that the idea?
Pretty much, and the fun. I mean, the weird thing is those things get you through the day somehow, but you wake up in the morning and it's kind of drained you. So you start
Hmm.
taking more just to get through the day, but it becomes this never-ending cycle that just you're taking more and more pills just to get you through your days, but it's damaging you.
So when did you start thinking, like, how many months or years into it you're like, okay, this is ridiculous, I can't go on like this, I need a different alternative? And how did you find CBD?
About 3 years. It took me about 3 years before I fully like transitioned off that, and I went fully CBD. The way it happened was my cousin actually owns and operates a dispensary out in San Fernando Valley, and I joined his team and started working at the shop and got really familiar with all the products, and seeing so many patients come in and out and seeing their story and hearing their story and how they use it for whatever reason they use it for. I was like, you know what? It's worth a shot. What do I have to lose?
Hmm.
All the research that I did online about it, I was like, you won't know until you try it yourself. I mean, it looks promising, sounds promising, but until you do it yourself, you won't know how it's going to benefit you.
Yeah. And so you've become an expert in CBD for that reason. And then when did you decide, okay, I need to share this? This is working for me. I need to share this with other people. I need to make Evergreen Lotus. And what was that like? Because you didn't have any experience making skincare
No, I didn't.
products, I presume. So tell me how that happened.
I didn't. The funny thing is, I love the cannabis industry. I love the hemp, CBD, and everything about it. And I sat there one day and I was thinking, what can I make, or what can I do to further, grow in the industry? And I thought about edibles and I thought about everything else. And I was like, everything's already been done. What can I do that's a little different? Um, Topicals have been done before also, but everyone has a different kind of formula. So I kind of wanted to set myself apart from other people, other companies, and um, I started testing it out on myself and my family members and all that stuff. And the moment I saw that it was giving them relief, it just motivated me to just take this and kind of go, I guess you could say, global with it,
Hmm. Yeah.
instead of
And
limiting
then
myself to just my
did you
city.
did you have to find somebody to help you with the formulations, and who did you find, and how did that relationship evolve?
Actually, what I did was I researched. I didn't go by. I went by ingredients. I searched every single ingredient and what the ingredient does, and then I just started doing the testings by myself. What actually pushed me in and got me more exposure was when I partnered up with Canade, which is my cousin's thing from the dispensary. They got into THC and CBD syrups and edibles and wax and all that. And I kind of partnered up with them to get more exposure because they're already doing so well in the game, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, in every business, you know, you come to a point where there's only so much you could do on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you kind of want a good team, a good solid team behind you that's gonna push your vision and your goal and your dream forward.
Yep, and so that's kind of another question I have for you. What were you working? Where were you working before this? And are you consider yourself an entrepreneur? Have you always been an entrepreneur, or are you now considering yourself an entrepreneur that you
No,
launched this?
actually, the thing is, back from high school, my dad was like, my dad gave me an option, gave me a choice. He was like, either you go to college, either you go to school, or you join me and you learn the family business, which was jewelry. I was like, you know what? Not that I was really bad in school, I just didn't have that urge to go. So I was like, you know what? I was like, teach me everything about the business. So I went with him, and he taught me everything about how to operate the business, and I became really good in the jewelry industry. And then years in my early 20s, I realized that that's not exactly what I wanted to do. Music's been a really big part of my life, and I got into DJing and started DJing nightclubs in Hollywood and downtown, and got really deep into the music world. And this, you know, I still needed a daytime job to pay the bills because music, for a lot of people, including myself, was kind of like a starving artist type thing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
only a select few actually make it to a point where you can live off it. So I still did
Yes,
that.
I played bass in a reggae band, so you know
But
that
you know,
led to where it led, which is now doing this. But
exactly.
I loved it. But that it would have been impossible for you to be a DJ taking opiates all the time. I'm assuming, right? I mean, this
Well,
isn't helping you become a DJ.
no, actually, it takes away from it because
Yeah.
it you know, it kind of messes with how you feel, how you think, um, and then it takes away from the love of the music. It starts
Hmm.
becoming about something else, and then you start losing sight of what am I doing this for? What does
Hmm.
it all mean? What am I doing this for? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much the backstory of it.
And so why Evergreen Lotus? Tell me, how'd you pick the name?
Um, really funny story actually with that. Um, so I picked Green Lotus actually to begin with. It started out as Green Lotus. I'm big with Zen Buddhism and all this stuff, and Lotus is a big part of it. Actually, that's one of my other tattoos I got this past weekend, which was the Zen circle with the Buddha meditating on the lotus flower. Um, I actually had a lot of friends from India who got me into meditating, and Johnny Om, that's my DJ name. I got that name, Johnny Om, and Lotus and everything. That's all tied into it, right? So I came up with Green Lotus, and then a few months down the road, I found out that that name was taken by a company out of Germany that does not operate in the States, but they had actually registered that name
Mm.
um, in the States. It has nothing to do with CBD or anything like that. It's just some company out of Germany, which I have no idea what they do. So I kind of had to tweak things around. So I thought I was really stuck on the whole Green Lotus name, and my partners were like, "Why don't you just change it completely?" I'm like, "No, I love this name. How can we keep this name and move forward? And I don't want to change my logo. I don't want to change my name." So I sat there, thought about it. I was like, "Why don't we just add Ever to the green?" And Evergreen Lotus was born.
I love it. I love it. And what's the significance of the lotus flower in Buddhism and everything like that?
So it actually has a lot of meaning to me because the lotus flower actually roots itself in mud. It actually blooms in ponds in mud. So basically, what I take from that is no matter how bad things get, how much struggle you go through, and how tough life is, you can use that to grow and expand into something that's actually beautiful. You,
Hmm.
you have this flower that's actually growing and you know has this beautiful appearance, but it's rooted in mud. So the
Mm.
base of it is not just like a pot of soil, you know. So that's where it all came from, honestly.
That's That's actually really cool. And so I want to talk about the lotion, and then I want to talk about the salve. But when you use the lotion for your MS symptoms, I mean, do you just rub it on the spasming muscle? How much do you need? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
So a little bit goes a long way. You don't really need too much, but the great thing about it is it's not a product where you could overdose on it. So if I overdo it, it's not going to harm me in any way. But if you want to stretch it out, you could use a little bit, which is going to help you. There's only a certain amount of CBD your body's going to be able to absorb through the skin. So a lot of people questioned why I had the dosage at such a level, like 50 milligram or 100 milligram or whatever it was, because there's these companies who are doing these topicals at 1,000 milligram, 2,000
Yeah.
milligram. And the public is under the impression that the higher the milligram, the higher the dosage, the better, how more effective the product is, which is not true. You know, your body's not absorbing 1,000 milligrams through your skin. It's going to absorb however much it can, the threshold of it. So whatever area that I have inflammation in or pain in, which is mostly my neck, my lower back, and my legs, I'll put some of it on wherever the problem area is, and I'll spread some of it around the area also, and just as needed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not really something where you could overdo.
How long does that bottle last you?
That 12-ounce jar that I have will basically last me about 2 weeks.
And do you use it every day?
I do use it every day. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, you don't need very much, which is another great benefit of it.
Right.
So let's talk about the salve too. So I actually don't have any tattoos personally. My mom always told me never to get a tattoo, so I believed her.
Right.
But why is this better than the other salves out there?
So I did a lot of research, and so I'm big with tattoos. Okay, and with the topical thing, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, why can't I use this for my tattoos? I looked at the ingredients. I looked at what it does, each individual ingredient and component of this topical, and you know, most topicals out there, the ones that I try to stay away from are petroleum jelly based, and they clog the pores. So when you get fresh ink, I don't want anything to ooze out. I don't want anything to clog my pores and not be able to hydrate, you know. And while you're healing, the key thing with this is trying to protect your ink while not clogging your pores, which is what most people who have fresh ink look for. Vitamin A, E, and D is a crucial part of this. It helps heal your skin. Plus, the whole CBD factor, anti-inflammatory, takes away the swelling and redness. So when you get a fresh ink, you're scarring basically your body, right? Your skin, you're cutting it through to get the ink in there. And right after you get the tattoo, it tends to swell up a little bit, have redness, it itches after a few days of getting your fresh ink. So I started doing a little testing, and I tested it on myself. Of course, the first person who used this topical was me. I went and got a lotus tattoo behind my arm to represent my logo, and I used the topical, and it worked so well. My tattoo healed in about 50% less than it normally takes. Usually it takes me about 8 to 11 days to be able to walk out in sun and not get burned, you know, have that stinging feel. And this thing just took care of me in like 5 to 6 days. And I was like, brilliant, let's go. So I moved forward. I did a little more testing. I took the same formula that I use for my first topical that I launched, and I added vitamins A, E, and D in it. You know, I added sunflower oil, which is a great source of vitamins too for the skin. And it worked like a charm.
Wow. That's great. So it's not just the CBD. The CBD is actually one of the reasons that it's great. But you have formulated something that doesn't clog the pores and is a good salve even without the CBD. It sounds
exactly.
That's awesome. So you know, what's the future Evergreen Lotus?
The future. Well, currently we're working on CBD tinctures and sublingual sprays, which are pretty much ready to go. We're just waiting for packaging and all that. The formula is pretty much perfected. We're just trying to go all things CBD, honestly. I'm looking into every single product, and I'm not. One of the things that I really try to stay away from is trying to duplicate everything else that's out there. Yes, there are products out there that people love that I would love to do myself also, but I spend a lot of time day and night thinking about what could I bring to the table? What's new? What's fresh? What other ways are there that people can use the CBD and find the benefits of it? You know, most people don't want to smoke to get relief. Most people don't want to use certain types of edibles. So there's just a long list of products that we're about to launch within the next few months that I'm really excited for all of you to test out and see.
That's fantastic. So, two more questions. Tell me, like, what's the most amazing, like, thing you've heard back from some of the people that have used your stuff, whether it be the salve or the lotion?
What was that? Sorry.
What's like the most amazing transformation that you've heard from somebody that has used your salve or your lotion?
Actually, I'm actually working with two people right now who got diagnosed with the same condition I have, with MS. And one of my friends actually hit me up on Facebook and said, "Hey, Johnny, my friend got diagnosed with MS. He's really down. He's not that positive right now. He thinks, the future is not that great as far as what his condition is going to turn into, progressive or not." He actually went on cbdumi.com and actually requested a sample. And he hit me up a week later after he tested out. He's like, "This is great, man." He's like, "I'm walking a lot better."
Wow.
He had major inflammation in his legs. And now we've kind of become friends now. I didn't even know this guy like a few weeks ago. And our conditions have kind of brought us together, and the products have brought us together. And I'm working really closely with him to try to improve his daily life. So he's looking into all things CBD, and it started from the topical.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, I'm going to be sending some to my friend who just got diagnosed with MS. What's his name, by the way?
His name's George.
George. I'm going to reach out to him and just say thanks, and maybe we'll hook him up with a special coupon or something, because that's a fantastic story.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm very, very humbled that we're able to help people, especially people with MS, because I literally know at least 3 people in my life very close to me that have it too. It's not fun, but it is manageable, which is good news.
Yes.
So my final question is, what's the change that you hope to see Evergreen Lotus make in the world?
Any relief I can give to anyone out there who's feeling down, honestly. I always tell my friends and my family this thing. Doing business, making money is great, but touching people's lives, actually making it a little better, giving them the relief that they need, is why I'm doing this. I'm not saying I could cure anything. This product is not intended to cure any sort of condition, but if you wake up in the morning and you put some of this Evergreen Lotus topical on, and you're able to get through your day without the pain that you're going through the previous night, hey, that means the world to me.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the larger movement with CBD. We're fed up with the solutions we've been given. They're not working for us. We don't want the establishment solution anymore. We want the solution that's working for people, and we want the solution that's helping people like you,
exactly,
that have a personal story that's connected to this. And I want to say you're just a regular guy, but you're not a regular guy. You're an exceptional person that's helping people, and so we want to help people like that too. Anything else? Yeah. And thanks again for, giving us the opportunity to carry this on the site. We want to make sure we touch as many people as we can with you, with all this stuff. And so, unless there's anything else, man, I think we can end this. And,
I appreciate all the support that you guys are giving. Honestly, this, it means a lot to me. We're making a lot of progress, honestly, in general public is getting to know CBD a lot better, and I feel like both of our efforts and everyone in this industry is playing their major role in it. And it's happened with me and my own family also. A few years ago, they didn't want to hear any of this. They thought I was trying to pitch or promote drugs to them, and now they're living it. living off of it religiously. They don't even want to hear pharmaceuticals, honestly. So I think we're doing good. I think we're on the right track.
I love it. So how can people get in contact with you and follow what you're doing?
They could go to cbdme.com. They can go to our Instagram page, Evergreen Lotus, which will guide them to that. We post a lot of informational things on Instagram, and just through the site, through our partnership, you know.
And you're usually at tattoo conventions. You're going to one this weekend, and you're going to be going to as many as you can, I guess, right?
I was actually at a really great one this past weekend, which was a Seaside Tattoo Show. And this week, there's a Travis Barker event, which is called Muse Inc. at the OC Event Center, OC Fair. Yeah, we're just going to be going out there and try to hit up as many shows as we can to try to educate the public and get this product out there.
Awesome. So just to let it's March 15th, 2018. So if you're listening to this in the future sometime, we hope the future is good for you, but it won't be happening this weekend. But if you're listening to this now, then maybe try to meet up with Johnny at that tattoo convention. Thanks again, man. We appreciate it. We're excited. We want to see Evergreen Lotus blossom into whatever we can. So we appreciate it, man. And thanks again.
Thank you very much.